Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop. On me, baby.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to the Fluid Art Express. If you're watching the Fluid Art Express, before me you would have seen Christy with Creations by Christy. Before her would have been Darren Nixon, Venom Fluid Art. Then me, of course, and then after me will be Bubbles, also Venom Fluid Art. And after her, our Caboose, the hippy dippy painter man, and his lovely wife, Kat. So hopefully they'll be on tonight. Last week we were both out, but okay, so we've had some beginners in the chat the last couple times I was in there, and so I just want to make this real simple. Let's just do a Floetrol and paint recipe. This is what you need. American Floetrol, American Flood Floetrol. It's in the orange label. People also use, our people in Australia use this is the Australian version, and it's got the red label. This is used for bloom recipe, although over there they use it for everything, so they're just lucky to have that. But this is our version of Floetrol, the American version. The UK and some other places, there's something called Owatrol. I'm really not familiar with it, but let's just do a simple swipe, simple colors, and let's get this started. Okay, I'm going to mix just a little bit at the bottom here because you don't want too much, especially mixing a tube paint, which is thicker than what I'm going to mix, which is this Deco Art Peacock Pearl. Hopefully this paint isn't so old that, and we're going to just pour some in here. I don't really measure, but you want a good amount, otherwise you're going to have flocking, which is where your paint breaks apart because it's too diluted. Okay, that should be enough. And there's a good amount in there, you know, probably, I would say a good tablespoon or so. And then just stir, stir, stir. Scrape your sides, get all that off of there. And if the color, if you mix it all up and get your color and it's not true to what you see in the tube, you probably need to just add some more, because the Floetrol will dull your colors a little bit, but it dries clear, so they will be true when your piece is dry. Now, this is not ideal. We usually don't mix and then pour, because obviously bubbles, but, and you're going to want your consistency about 1-2 second trace. I don't know if you can see that or not, but when you do this with your stick, it leaves a trace, and that trace should sink back down in within 1 to 2 seconds. Some people do it as a mound, but I like the trace myself. So that actually looks about right for our pour that we're doing. And as long as all your consistencies are pretty close to the same, you should be all right. Now, I've mixed some white for a base. We're just going to do a couple tiles. I've mixed white as a base, and this is just Floetrol and white paint, whatever you've got. I just mixed it too, so it's going to be loaded with bubbles. But this will be our base paint. And then I've taken a little bit of this and just added some water and thinned it down to just about a 1 second trace or less. It just sinks right back in. So you want your top coat that's going to swipe over to be thinner than your colors, okay? And then, I mean, you can use the fancy Australian Floetrol and all that, but you really don't have to, especially when you're starting out. Now, this pink is Magma Magenta by Eye Candy, and it's a pigment. So I just did the same as for that color, only a little less, and you mix the pigments in. Then you pour the rest of it in to make If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay. This one is Master's Touch Phthalo Blue. And I added a little bit of white because it was a little on the dark side, so I added just a little bit of white to lighten it up a bit. This one is Golden Teal. Okay, it's the same. Just give it a little stir because I mixed these yesterday, so. All right. And then last we have Amsterdam Greenish Blue. This one's really pretty, and I actually added a little bit of my Prism Pour Water Dragon to it, just to give it a little bling. This is the only one that has the bling in it, but it might be a little thicker than the rest too. I may need to thin it down just a bit. Yep. So to thin it down, just start adding a couple of drops of water at a time. You don't want to just goose your water in there because then this one will be thinner than the rest, and you don't want that. So just a little at a time. Check your consistency. We're going to have lots of bubbles, but I think that's a lot better. All right, and I just tap it on the table to pop a lot of the surface bubbles. Now, okay, now let's get this started. Let's see if I can move everything back. Do I have a swiping tool? Yeah, I'll just use my big. All right. I'm gonna get paint all over this. You don't need a lot, just enough to cover the bottom. Now, I haven't done this in a long time. Hopefully it'll work for you guys, because that would really be bad if I'm trying to do a tutorial that doesn't work. Now, for bubbles, you can torch a little bit, and that'll pop it really fast over the surface. That'll pop lots of them. Okay, let's see. Let's start with, I'm just going to go ahead and just do some lines across, and we'll let's see if this is going to work now. My table's not level. I got to clean everything out, but I did not get to level my table. So let's just put some of this thinned mixture on here, and we'll see if this works. If not, I have another way to make it work. But this is just literally 2-3 ingredients if you count the water. So we're going to try and make this work. And this is how I started out. I made it work when I didn't have all the ingredients. Okay. You can see them popping up a little bit. I maybe should have made it just a tiny bit thinner. You'll have to play with your consistency on the so-called cell activator. Okay. This one doesn't look great, but we're gonna keep playing around with it. We'll see what happens when we spin it out. Okay, well, my my white should have been a little bit thinner. I didn't get it thin enough, or it would look more like this over here. See how it did over here? So just play around with your consistency, and yeah, I'll show you another well-known little hack, and that is using silicone oil. So yeah, might as well just do this one. I'm not going to keep that. That's not great. Okay, so I already got a base on, so I don't need to put more base, obviously. Okay, now silicone oil. Silicone oil comes in many forms. Some people use a hair serum. This is 100% silicone oil. It's super lube. It's like a treadmill lube. If you need to look it up, that's what they call it. Or you can just look up silicone oil, I guess, and you should find it. It's pretty cheap. I've had this for several years, so I can't tell you how much it costs. But the results can be amazing. Now, never, ever, ever put silicone oil in your base paint. Otherwise, it'll just open up and you'll just see blank tile, canvas, whatever's underneath. Okay, let's see. And we only need like 1 or 2 drops. So what are we going to put it in? Let's put it in... let's put it in this dark blue one. Okay, so we just need 1, 2 drops. Really? That's it. 2 drops. Now, so you can stir lightly and get bigger cells, or you can stir it like crazy and the cells will be a little smaller. Okay, we're not going to use that one first, though, because it has oil in it. Now, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. I'm only going to put oil in one color, and we'll see how that works out. I haven't used this oil in years, so I figure why not? Let's just do it. This will make it easy for beginners, you know. Okay, let's do it again. All right. I'm going to thin this down with, what do I do with my water? There it is. 2 more drops of water. This is the thinned down version of the cell activator. Maybe just another drop or 2. That was 3. Okay. That should work. All right, let's get our swiping tool and try this again. And I'm just spreading this evenly over the swiping tool. You don't need too much. All right, you ready? Let's go. Let go of that, would you? Swiping tool looks beautiful. All right, we're going to give that a little minute and we'll torch some bubbles. Also with the oil, the torch will help them come up. But you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. It's makes really cool cells. All right, let's go in for the spin. Okay, I guess I should have put more oil, right? Yeah, let's just do this then. Okay, we'll just get a little more cell activator on there. Although we probably don't need the cell activator on there, but I'm just going to run it through. See if we can get something happening here. I mean, eventually they will all pop up. I'm just very impatient. Very, very. Let's try with no cell activator. Hmm. A little more on that time. See, as we sit here, you can see them expanding, getting bigger. Yeah. So... there we go. I think we have enough paint off of there now. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, that cell activator could have been even a little thinner yet. I'm always scared to go too thin. Not really sure why, but there it is. Let's put some pink on the tip there. But it looks pretty wild. Now that might still keep developing. And I don't know if you can see the indentations. It looks like little craters in it. In the paint, that is completely normal. The oil is what does that. And when it dries, you won't see it. But when it dries, you will have to use some dish soap or rubbing alcohol or something to clean that oil off before you try and put any kind of clear coat on it, resin it, anything like that. But anyways, so let me bring you down for a close-up. And I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so I lied a little bit. Just a little bit. I apologize, but we're going to do another one. This time I've added oil to the pink and the blue. So now we have 3 colors with the oil in it. All right, let's do this. And this time I'm going to use a black cell activator, and I didn't mix up a Floetrol recipe one. This is the Australian Floetrol recipe cell activator. Made the same way, only with Australian Floetrol instead of American. All right, let's do that one. Now, we've got our black cell activator, and this cell activator does have some bling in it. It's got some interference pink pigment in it. So this one is just for fun to see what happens. In case you do have Australian Floetrol and you want to use it. It's perfectly fine to use it too. Just get the excess off of there. Okay, here we go. That is going to pop immediately. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Oh, look at all those little bitty cells in there. I'm out of paper towels. to let that develop a little bit. Sometimes too much oil is not a good thing. Plus, I used the Floetrol, Australian Floetrol recipe, which works way better for popping cells. So I really didn't need the oil in there for that. But since it was in there, it still looks pretty cool. Okay, let me bring it up with this one. That looks pretty cool. All right, let's take it for a spin. The paint has stopped moving when I tilt it, so we have enough off, and that's crazy looking, isn't it? This is what happens when you use Australian Floetrol and oil. So there you have it. Okay, let me get this mess cleaned up, and this time I really will bring you down for a close-up. Okay, close-up time. Thanks everyone so much for watching. This is the second one we did. This one has oil in 3 of the colors, and I used the Australian Floetrol black cell activator on this one. That's a little wild. It's got some bling in there though. These will be perfect for my mosaic pots though that I do. Okay, and now the first one we did. Bam! I like this one a lot better actually. You can see some of the white there right in the middle. Right in the middle there. I think that's the oil being too close to the pillow paint. Not positive, but this one came out super cool. I actually didn't do any embellishing, and it still came out amazing. A little more white than I wanted, but that was that cell activator being a little thick. But this one is literally paint, American Floetrol, and just a few drops of water. And I believe did I use oil in this? Yes, I did. I used oil in this one. In one color, the dark color. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. Happy Sunday, everyone. Huggles. Bye-bye.